Over the past 4 years, Naruto and Hinata trained together, helping each other gain power. The years had been kind to them, as they were both the tallest in their age group. Naruto was 5'6", and Hinata was 5'3". Naruto now supported a strong build, with well-defined abs and muscular arms and legs. Hinata also had a similar build. The only difference was that her front now supported a pair of well-rounded breasts. In terms of taijutsu, both Naruto and Hinata would be considered high jonin bordering Kage level. Hinata had created and mastered her own version of the Gentle Fist, which she named the Flowing Fist, due to her flexibility. She was proficient with the original Hyuga style as well. Naruto, with the help of his shadow clones, had learned as many styles as he could get his hands on. He also used a variant of the Gentle Fist, where he would strike the body's pressure points instead of the chakra pathways, since he did not have the Byakugan. Naruto also learned how to channel lightning chakra and fire chakra to his hands and feet, creating 2 new taijutsu styles, the Lightning Fist and the Blazing Fist. The only weakness they had was lack of experience. However, that did not apply to ninjutsu. Naruto had mastered his lightning, fire, and wind affinities. Hinata mastered both her water and wind style, and was currently working on her earth affinity. They had also learned how to channel their chakra into weapons made from chakra metal, such as the single-edged blades they both carried on their backs. The two were also currently creating their own jutsu. Both were able to cast Genjutsu rank C and below, and could easily break A rank Genjutsu. For seal mastery, they had both recently reached level 10. Naruto had also begun creating his own seals, and was also learning how to use his father's Hiraishin markers. Both had reached level 10 of gravity seals. Without them active, the two had speed that could rival the strongest Jonin in the village. Naruto was also able to greatly increase his speed by channeling lightning chakra through his body. Finally, both Naruto and Hinata had near perfect chakra control. The only problem was Naruto's ever-growing reserves, making it so that he would have to retrain his control every few weeks. Fortunately, he was able to coax Kurama into helping him with that problem by slowly mixing his own chakra in with his Jinchuriki's reserves. Speaking of the fox, Naruto was now able to control about 2 taels worth of chakra without going crazy with rage or being negatively affected. There was no doubt that Naruto and Hinata were 2 of the strongest ninja in the village. Naruto and Hinata's apartment. Naruto opened his eyes slowly as they grew accustomed to the light that came from the bedroom window. He turned his head to the left, looking at the picture of his parents placed on the shelf opposite side of the room. "Today's the day. You think you're ready?" asked Kurama as he awakened inside his Jinchuriki. Naruto turned his head again to look at the princess sleeping beside him. Hinata groaned as she turned in her sleep. Naruto smiled at the sight. He never grew tired of the angelic face of his girlfriend. "I was born ready, Kurama," Naruto said as he placed a kiss on Hinata's forehead. "All of us are ready. Forgetting the fact that you won't let me out and have some fun," Kurama huffed as Naruto went to shower and make breakfast. "You know that the other students don't know about you. And besides, why would you want to waste your power on a couple of kids?" Kurama huffed again before standing up beside his tree, and then running off to hunt the many creatures that Naruto made to wander his mindscape. After showering, Naruto began making breakfast. A minute after placing the food on the table, Hinata wandered into the kitchen, still half asleep. Naruto suppressed his laughter as she stumbled into the bathroom. 10 minutes later, Hinata came out, her dark blue hair coming down past her shoulders. "Good morning, princess," Naruto said as she sat down in her chair. "Morning, Naruto," she replied as she began to eat breakfast. "So, you ready for graduation?" Hinata asked as he ate. Naruto gave her a smirk in reply. She returned the smirk as they thought about their classmates' reactions. After finishing breakfast, the 2 outcasts got prepared for the academy. The first order of business was burning the clothes they had worn up to this point. Over the past few years, Naruto and Hinata hid their true nature behind masks. The loudmouth dead last, and the weak and timid Hyuga were no more. They both hated pretending, but they knew it was necessary to protect themselves while they grew stronger. After burning their old clothes, the two adorned new outfits. Naruto wore black shinobi sandals with matching pants. On his torso he had mesh armor covered by a dark gray shirt and an orange sweater with black stripes. On his left shoulder was the Uzumaki clan symbol, made up of a red swirl. On the back of his sweater was the symbol for the number 9, representing the 9-tailed fox. On his wrist were bracelets that had storage seals written on them. They held shuriken, kunai, senbon needles, explosive and smoke tags, and extra scrolls. On his waist was a pouch holding multiple pills for during and after combat, to restore his energy. Finally, he had a single-edged sword with a black handle and dark orange scabbard attached to his back. Hinata wore dark blue shinobi sandals and gray pants. She also wore mesh armor, which was covered by a zipped-up dark gray sweater with lavender stripes on the arms, and dark purple on her waist. Attached to her waist was her own sword, which looked the same as Naruto's, except her scabbard was white instead of orange. On her waist was a pouch holding pills and a few vials of various poison, which she would put on the weapons stored in her wrist bracelets, which were the same as Naruto's. Finally, in her hair she had a purple ribbon that Naruto had bought for her. After double-checking they had all their supplies, Naruto and Hinata made their way to the academy via rooftops. Shinobi Academy, 15 minutes later. Naruto and Hinata slipped in unnoticed by everyone in the classroom. They sat together in the back row. 5 minutes passed as more students came in. None of them noticed the two, except for Shino. Shino was a member of the Aburame clan, who specialized in insect-based techniques. He had deep brown, spiky hair. He wore a gray jacket that covered the lower half of his face, and black glasses that covered his eyes. Shino was a quiet person and only spoke when he believed it necessary. Naruto liked him. Shino was one of the few that did not despise him. In fact, he already knew about the fox that Naruto held. When asked about how he knew, he simply replied, "Word travels fast. You just need to know where to listen." It was good to know that Shino trusted Naruto, especially since he was most likely to be placed on the same team as him and Hinata, since they all used sensory techniques. Shino sat down beside them and noticed their change in attire. He had expected something like this to happen. "You're deciding to reveal your true selves?" The Jinchuriki nodded. Shino nodded back and turned his attention elsewhere. A few more minutes went by, and the only other to notice them was Shikamaru, member of the Nara clan. He had deep brown eyes and wore his brown hair in a pineapple shape. He had on a light gray jacket with mesh armor underneath. His clan was made up of brilliant strategists, so it was no surprise that he noticed the two. Despite being a genius, he was incredibly lazy and always liked to sleep. He also knew about the fox inside Naruto, and did not treat Naruto different for it. "Well, looks like you two finally gotten serious," Shikamaru said as he sat in the desk in front of them. "Says the guy who falls asleep during a sparring match and has never trained a day in his life," Hinata responded playfully. The Nara's reply was a guilty shrug. It was true, he was lazy, and he was too lazy to say otherwise. "It's kind of unfair, since you're one of the few who are likely to become Chunin first try," Naruto said with a smile. "How troublesome," Shikamaru said between yawns. A few more minutes went by, as more and more students filtered into the class. Finally, the teachers arrived, Iruka and Mizuki. Iruka had black eyes and tied his hair back similar to Shikamaru. A scar ran across the front of his face. He wore the standard shooting outfit and the Leaf Village headband. He was also one of Naruto's closest friends. Mizuki had silver hair and dark eyes. He also wore the standard outfit. But, unlike Iruka, Mizuki hated Naruto and was always harsh on him. He was in for a rude awakening once he found out Naruto was leagues above him. "Alright, class," Iruka began. "Today is your graduation. I am immensely proud of you all. I am sure you will grow up to be fine shinobi. Now, you are going to be scored based off of 4 tests: written, weapons, taijutsu, and ninjutsu. Mizuki will now hand you your written tests. You have 30 minutes to finish. And begin." The written portion went by quickly due to Naruto and Hinata's studies they'd had whenever they were not training their bodies. Next was the weapons test, which tested a ninja's skills at throwing tools. Everyone filed out into the academy training yard. "The first is Sasuke Uchiha," Iruka said, followed by the joyous screaming of fangirls as Sasuke approached the targets. He wore white shorts and a blue shirt, his eyes and spiky hair the same color black. Naruto whispered to Hinata, "Now that I think about it, the back of his head looks like a duck's butt." Hinata could not help but laugh as she too noticed the similarities. Sasuke landed 8 kunai and 9 shuriken. He gave his signature smirk as the girls began to squeal with happiness. "Next up, Hinata Hyuga," said Iruka as Mizuki removed the projectiles from the target. As Hinata walked forward, everyone gazed at her with shock. This was their first chance to see the new Hinata. Her outfit had changed drastically, and her curved body drew the attention of many of the boys. Iruka, getting over his own shock, nodded to Hinata, who replied with landing every shot, a perfect 20. Everyone stared as she walked away. Sasuke let out the faintest grunt of annoyance. It was just luck, he told himself. The only others worth mentioning were Shino and Shikamaru, who got 15 and 17 respectively. All the others got below 12. And finally, we have Naruto Uzumaki, Iruka called out as Mizuki let a smirk cross his face. Naruto slowly walked forward, letting everything about him soak in. He was not going to act like the dead last anymore. Even Sasuke's fangirls were taken aback. Naruto looks like a completely different person. They could not help but realize how handsome he appeared. Iruka smiled as he studied the true Naruto. The Hokage told him that Naruto was pretending to be a slacker, and to just play along until graduation. After receiving a nod from his teacher and friend, Naruto prepared his shuriken. He threw them all at once, scoring a 10. Next, he pulled out his kunai, and once again all 10 hit the target. Everyone stared dumbfounded. "And that's another perfect 20, Iruka announced. Mizuki could not help but narrow his eyes angrily, but Naruto paid no attention as he turned to stand by Hinata. Next up came the Ninjutsu Test. Every student had to perform the 3 basic jutsus taught at the academy: the transformation jutsu, the substitution jutsu, and the clone jutsu. Hinata's turn arrived, and she quickly did a substitution with one of the nearby students. She then transformed herself into the form of Iruka, and finally created 5 basic clones. The only worthwhile difference between the other students were Sasuke, Shino, and Shikamaru. Sasuke created 3 basic clones. Shino created bug clones because he was an Aburame, and Shikamaru's clone immediately fell asleep upon their creation. Naruto went last and easily copied what Hinata did, but instead of the basic clones, he made shadow clones, but decided to keep the difference a secret from the other students. The reason Naruto was unable to perform the basic illusion clones was due to his massive chakra, which prevented his clones from being created properly. And finally, the taijutsu test. Each of the students would be put up against each other in a one-on-one duel. First up, Sasuke versus Naruto, Iruka announced as both stepped into the circular ring. Everyone's ears were instantly bombarded by the noise created from the Uchiha's fangirls. Sasuke put on his arrogant smirk as he eyed Naruto. "Just forfeit, dope. We both know who's gonna win." Naruto admired his fingernails. "If we both know, then why are you still here? It's obvious I'm gonna win." "What are you talking about?" Uchiha asked angrily. "You're nothing but a loser. I am an Uchiha elite." Naruto stuffed his hands into his pockets. "Kind of hard to call you an elite when there are no other Uchiha to compare you to." Sasuke's eyes narrowed with rage. "How dare you disrespect my clan?" Sasuke thought as he charged headfirst into Naruto, releasing a yell of anger. Naruto gave him a bored look. He sidestepped Sasuke's punch, raised his leg into the air, and brought it down on Sasuke's back. He struck the ground with a resounding thud, knocking the wind out of him. "And the winner is Naruto Uzumaki," Iruka announced. Naruto smiled inwardly at Kurama, who had been watching the fight. The two had always wanted to see the brat be brought down a few pegs. Naruto exited the ring, only to hear Sasuke stand up and perform a set of hand signs. Fire style. Fireball jutsu, Sasuke thought, as he released a flaming ball from his mouth towards Naruto. The blonde easily dodged, accidentally putting the fangirls in danger of being hit. Realizing this, he dashed in front of them and did his own hand signs. Wind style. Great breakthrough, Naruto thought, as a gust of wind intercepted the fireball. The two jutsus canceled each other out. Iruka and Mizuki had to jump in to prevent the rage-filled Uchiha from attacking again. Unable to calm him down, Naruto struck him in the chest, causing him to fall unconscious. The girls stared at Sasuke and Naruto. Some were now slightly afraid of Sasuke, where others were angry at Naruto for hurting their precious Uchiha. After Sasuke was finished with, the remaining rounds went by. Hinata easily defeated her opponent with a single strike. The other rounds went on for about 2 minutes. By that time, Sasuke had regained consciousness and immediately tried to lash out at Naruto. Luckily, Iruka threatened to hold Sasuke back while his classmates advanced to Genin. That managed to shut him up. Teachers left the students in the classroom while they looked at the test scores. As expected, all the attention was focused on Naruto and Hinata. Kiba, a member of the Inuzuka clan, approached Hinata. He wore a gray jacket with black fur and had red fangs tattooed on his face. "Hey Hinata, you did great during the test. You want to hang out after and celebrate our graduation?" Hinata continued to look forward. "I'll pass," she said in an emotionless voice. "Why not?" Kiba asked. "Simple. I just don't like you." Kiba gritted his teeth. Hinata was acting so different. Normally, she would reply with a stutter. Akamaru, his white dog companion, tugged at his pants, trying to get him to leave. The dog could sense the strength radiating off Uzumaki and Hyuga. Naruto, who was sitting beside Hinata, reached into his pouch, pulled out a small bone, and tossed it to Akamaru. He looked up at the boy, who gave a foxy smile, which was unnoticed by everyone else. Akamaru, after a moment's hesitation, barked happily and began to chew on the bone. Something about the blonde made Akamaru trust him. Naruto turned his attention back to Kiba and Hinata, only to see the Inuzuka on the floor. Hinata stood above him, looking at him with a bored expression. "I cannot believe this guy just trying to make a move on me," Hinata growled as she sat back down. Kiba slowly got up, nursing his arm. He let out a growl as he saw Naruto stare at him. He stomped off to his seat, grumbling about how dead lasts should know their place. Naruto rolled his eyes. Him and Hinata's attention were drawn to the noise created by two girls. "I get to sit beside Sasuke," yelled Sakura Haruno, pink-haired girl with green eyes. "No, he's mine," retorted Ino Yamanaka, a girl with dull blonde hair and light green eyes. Sasuke sat there, not paying attention to the commotion. He closed his eyes as he began to think vengeful thoughts. He reminded himself why he became a ninja. To kill Itachi. His brooding was cut off as he realized that he was now flanked by Sakura and Ino. He looked up to see Naruto glaring at them. Would you girls please shut up? Just sit on either side of him. That way you can both have him. Naruto turned and walked back to Hinata. He smiled. I've always wanted to say that. Sakura got angry and began to yell at Naruto. Why are you telling us to shut up, dead last? The class froze as Naruto released a wave of ki aimed at the pink-haired girl. She suddenly doubled over, while the rest were unable to move. Shikamaru looked up from his nap, feeling the killer intent in the air. How troublesome, he said sleepily. Hinata watched the event unfold. She narrowed her eyes at Naruto, who stared back. She gave him a smile. Try not to kill them, my dear Naruto. Naruto smiled back as he stopped releasing ki. Whatever you say, Hinata, he replied as he planted a kiss on her cheek, making her blush slightly, and making the onlooker's jaws drop. It finally dawned on them. Naruto and Hinata were boyfriend and girlfriend. They were a couple. Everyone stopped as Iruka and Mizuki returned with the results. Once again, I want to congratulate you all for graduating, Iruka began. When I call your name, you may come up to the front and choose your Leaf Village headband. First up, we have the 2 students who scored the highest points in the test. Everyone leaned forward in anticipation. First is Hinata Hyuga. Hinata walked up to the front as everyone gazed at her in awe. She chose the blue headband with the leaf symbol carved into the forehead protector. She then bowed to Iruka, who smiled in reply. The second person with the highest score is... Sasuke let a smirk appear on his face. Is Naruto Uzumaki. Sasuke's eyes widened. What? How the hell did that dope score higher than me? Iruka sighed, expecting this to happen. Naruto has mastered all the Academy Jutsus to perfection. He has perfect accuracy with kunai and shuriken, and beat you soundly in a one-on-one fight. Not to mention the fact that you could have killed your classmates with that fireball jutsu. You should be fortunate enough to know, Sasuke, that you did gain 3rd place. Sasuke seethed his teeth as he watched Naruto choose a black headband. The rest of the students received their headbands. Iruka announced that their Jonin sensei would be revealed tomorrow. After they were dismissed, Naruto and Hinata immediately left for their home, not wishing to be asked questions. As they were traveling, Naruto made a shadow clone. After receiving its orders, the clone ran off. What was that about? Hinata asked. Mizuki was planning to steal the scroll of sealing from the Hokage. I sent a clone to bring him and the scroll back. Naruto grinned. And I might just have had my clone learn a few things from the scroll before giving it back. Who knows? There might be a way to remove your caged bird seal in it. Hinata smiled and gave Hinata a kiss on the cheek. Needless to say, the clone defeated Mizuki easily, and then began to read the scroll. After learning everything it could in 1 hour, it returned the scroll to the Hokage Tower without anyone noticing. By that time, Naruto and Hinata were climbing into bed and deciding to worry about the scroll's techniques later. They were going to begin training with their team and sensei tomorrow. The 2 new genin were about to rock the village with their power.